Good morning. It's Thursday, November 21st, and it's a day that I am taking pleasure in making this announcement. Something terrific has happened out there in the United States. President Trump has finally hit a wall. In Colorado, Trump ballot ruling. Trump is disqualified from the 2024 ballot. The Colorado Supreme Court ruled that. The former president, Donald J. Trump's campaign said it planned to appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I am sure that the Supreme Court in Colorado was prepared for that. There was no reason for them to duck the issue, and they fully understood how Trump's minions would react to this. And I knew for sure that if there was a ruling against President Trump, it would end up in the U.S. Supreme Court. And the ruling in this Supreme Court in Colorado is based upon Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies from office those who engage in insurrection against the Constitution after taking an oath to support it. And this applies to Mr. Trump, making him ineligible to be listed on Colorado's presidential primary ballot. Now, this decision is a very tricky decision because there are many who can argue that Trump didn't physically act in the insurrection, even though he was on the TV and everything and holding back his commands from the troops that were charging up the Capitol step and him cheering them on. But this is very tricky, deciding that he, in fact, was acting with the insurrectionists. And when you look at it, it wasn't a unanimous decision. It was a 4-3 decision that was rendered against Mr. Trump. Now, all 7 justices in this state Supreme Court were appointed by Democratic governors. But Chief Justice Brian Boatwright, who's in the minority in this case, has identified himself as a Republican. So you had 6 Democrats on that court and 1 Republican. And the verdict was 4-3. So we can realize that this court acted appropriately. It wasn't a one-sided decision. And the first thing that Trump's minions did, the first thing his staff did, is get themselves on the air and start asking for donations for him to defend himself against this court case. And probably they're going to collect all this money, and who knows who's going to spend it and where it's going to be spent, but they'll use it to defend him in the U.S. Supreme Court also, because that's his modus operandi. Every time he gets in a hard situation, the first thing he does is go out and beg his minions for monetary support. The man is a thief amongst his other faults. Now, Trump was in Waterloo, Iowa, making a speech there, and he made one of the shortest speeches that he's ever made there. But he did not mention this decision that came down in the Colorado Supreme Court. He's usually right in the face of people who attack him. But this time he hasn't said anything. He's been mum about this case so far. You all know that Trump has generally depicted criminal cases and ballot lawsuits against him, regardless of their jurisdiction or their origin or wherever the hell they came from, as politically motivated plot orchestrated by the Democrats and Biden to keep him from returning to the White House. But there's no evidence to link Biden to the Colorado case, or that that Joe has meddled in any of the criminal prosecutions of Trump. You can't find Biden in the middle of this mess. But we'll see what Trump has to say about that at some point, because I know that his nature is not to keep his mouth shut. And of course, one of the people who came to Trump's defense defense was Representative Lauren Boebert, the outspoken Republican congresswoman who represents a wide area of western and southern Colorado, saying in her statement that the justices had made a political decision that was designed to suppress the vote and the voices of hundreds of thousands of Coloradans. Why does she think that this decision is going to affect the votes and voices of hundreds and thousands of Coloradans? If it's illegal, it's illegal. He doesn't belong on the ballot. So if he's not on the ballot, the voice and the vote of those Coloradans are going into the toilet. So they will just have to find somebody else to vote for. Not a bad deal. One thief off the ballot, find an honest man, find a better candidate, vote for him or her. All kinds of people came out of the woodwork on this particular situation. And Tom Tillis, the senator from North Carolina, a Republican, said he would introduce legislation that would withhold federal funds for election administration to states that misuse the 14th Amendment for political purpose. The fact that there are crooks out there who don't belong on the ballot never entered these guys' mind. Every time somebody is doing something that they dislike or they disapprove of, right away, it's a political thing. It's political purposes, not the fact that these guys are crooked or something. No. So in my mind, if you take a good hard look at the fact the Colorado Supreme Court got it right. The Constitution protects the right to vote and bars candidates who abuse the process or engage in insurrection. And Donald Trump has done both. And there's no question about it that he has done both of those things. So for my money, the Colorado Supreme Court earns a medal for each of them. Even the ones that voted no deserve a medal because they took the time and effort to sit down and come to a decision that may very well affect the outcome of the 2024 election. Because once Colorado has shown the spine to step forward and use the 14th Amendment, then there are many other states that are a little bit chicken shit, but they may now be willing to step up and follow Colorado's example. So we must recognize the fact that what Colorado did is historic and heroic in some ways. Because I am sure there are many constituents in Colorado that are not happy about this decision and forgetting about what the rest of the country thinks. Because we know that 40 or 45% of the country is in Donald Trump's pocket, so to speak. So this court decision could be leading the way to a crack in the armor that Donald Trump has hidden behind all this time. So kudos to the Colorado Supreme Court. And all of those should look at this and think about it. Think about the fact that the Colorado Supreme Court came to this decision. When you know that Supreme Courts do things that are not necessarily the most popular thing. So I'll leave you with that this morning. Have a great day.